is not limited to this limited world of dunya and what we have experienced in a materialistic world. Based on our belief, our existence started before this world and will continue after this world. Perhaps we do not remember, and certainly most of us don't, I don't think we do, remember what happened in the worlds that we lived before this. Just an example, you can compare the world of the uterus, the womb of the mother, that we all lived in there. We had food in there, we had a life, we got effect from outside and inside. The food that mother ate, the medication, for example, if she took, the noises actually that were outside the uterus affected that fetus in there. So we had a world, we had a life there. We approved or disapproved things. The fetus inside the uterus, sometimes if you play certain music, for example, if there is noise, for example, outside, if there is a particular change in the blood of the mother, that fetus would react to that. Does anybody remember that? No. Despite of all of us going through it, we don't remember much from it. Now, our existence started in the world of dhar, or you want to translate it as atom, or some people call it the world of alast. Because in Quran, Allah wa ta'ala says that at the time in that world, before coming to this world, Allah wa ta'ala asked this question, brought us ourselves as a witness for what we believe and what we're supposed to believe, and asked us, do you believe that I am your Rabb, your Lord, your nurturer? And everybody said yes. And that's where this word of alas comes. Is alastu bi rabbikum? Am I not your Rabb? Qalu bala. Everybody said yes. Shahidna. We bear witness. So you will not have, in Qiyamah, you will not have, the ayah continues, you will not have any excuse to say that, we were ghafil from this, we were ignorant of this, we didn't know. This existence that started before this world will continue in the next world. There are worlds, realms, whatever you want to call it, awalim in Arabic, that we exist. Certain things that we do in this world, they are just for this world. Like in the uterus, the umbilical cord for feeding, that was just for them. The moment the child comes out and you cut it, there's absolutely no usage for that. You just put it in the bin, that's it. Finished. While in that world, it has so much value, at least that little creature, that fetus there, was so dependent on it, was really attached to it. Literally attached to it. In this world, there are things that we have, they are just for this world. the moment we leave this world, like that umbilical cord is cut and becomes absolutely nothing. And you do not even take it with you. When you go to the new world, you do not even take them with you. Like positions, like these clothing. We go inside grave, there's a body there is a soul going somewhere else, and there's absolutely nothing left from those things that we had in the new world, in Alam al-Barzakh, in Qiyamah, nothing. In Mahshar, these are all different worlds that we are going to experience. And there are things that in fact they started before, and they will continue after this world as well. Like what? Like our usul al-din, our belief, this belief that we have, that the first one, the most important one is at-tawheed, believing in the oneness of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. When we believe in that, it doesn't mean that we believe in that now. It's just a belief that we have it and we leave it and that's it, is gone. No, it's not gone anywhere. It existed, in fact, based on this ayah of Quran, it existed even before we came to this world. Alastu bi rabbikum. We bore witness. We bear witness now, and we bore witness then, and we will bear witness that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is one. And this never ever goes anywhere. It's always there. It's a path. This belief is a path. In Arabic is manhaj, sabil. It's something that continues. It's not something that we just stick to it for a short while and we go. The next asl from usul al-din, the next principle from the principles or pillars of religion is an-nubuwwah. Believing in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, sallu ala Muhammad wa and all the prophets that came before him for his message. All the prophets came for the message of the last messenger of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. And this is an important fact after Tawheed, the most important part of our pillars of religion, our usul al-din. Ma'ad is another asl of usul al-din. Some part of Ma'ad maybe is more important than Nubuwwah if it's attached to Tawheed, but Ma'ad overall is not as important as Nubuwwah. Because without Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we have absolutely no religion. So what's the point of sitting there and talking about Ma'ad when we have absolutely nothing to prepare ourselves? Imamah and Wilayah is part of Nubuwwah. The first Imam, we know as our madhab, our sect of Islam, that somebody asks us, we say, the first Imam was Imam Ali alayhi salam. Of course, in the counting is Imam Ali. But the first Imam actually is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself. He is the Imam. He had the status of Imam, not just Imam as a leader. Of course, he was a leader. Imam as the Imam that we're talking about in the Quran, that Allah Ta'ala refers to that in the ayah 124 of Surah Al-Baqarah. That Ibrahim alayhi salam, after all the effort that he made and tests that he passed, he got to this stage, to this status, to be an Imam. This Imamah, this Wilayah, is part of our usul al-din, part of Usul al-Din, not Furu' al-Din, not the branches. Usul al-Din. Which means the light of Usul al-Din, as we said, we just proved it, like Tawheed, like Nubuwwah, started even before this world and will continue after this world. Is a light. Light, not the light that we know. When we say light here, nur, translated as light, we may think that it's just this light that we see. No. The pure existence that carries the power of Allah Ta'ala, that pure existence is of this type of light. This light started in Alam al-Dhab before coming to this world, will continue in this world and the next world, and all the worlds that our existence goes through, everywhere. When we say that Fatemiyeh al-Zahra salamullah alayha, she has this status as being that part of that light, the same light that Rasulullah, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Hassanin alayhi salam, all were created from the same light. This light started from then and will continue forever. Now, this is just introduction. I have to say these things, otherwise you don't know what I'm talking about. We have a nickname for Fatemiyeh al-Zahra salamullah alayha, that is Abiha. Abiha, yes? Literally is translated as the mother of her father. Okay? I apologize to our brothers and sisters probably that hear me and they know these things, and I'm just saying these things in front of them. So I know you know that, but I'm just delivering what I can, and maybe for younger people, certain basic things might be important. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, if we see anything, and this is my advice to my younger brothers and sisters, if you see anything in religion, do not just take it as it's there by the dictionary, by the book of, Qamus al-Quran, or some books that you can open, and they just write a translation for it, or the translation of Quran that is written, all these translations are written. Do not take it like that. Anything you get in hadith, try to match it with Quran. Anything you get in Quran, try to match it with hadith. That's something we have to do all the time. That's how we're supposed to stick to Thaqalain. Yes? Quran and Itra and Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. These two are supposed to be together. So when you see something, don't take it just from the teacher that comes and teaches you, or the book that is written, sometimes written by a non-Muslim. Translation of Quran. Our brother Hassan came from such a long distance. He knows the translations that we are nowadays looking through them. Some of them are written by non-Muslims. Think about it. Now, Abiha, the literal translation we told you, that's how they translate it. Because nowadays, usually is referred to mother. Okay. This nickname, or kunya, in Arabic they call it kunya. Kunya is something that comes for people. Usually comes with, for example, nowadays if you see with or Abu, for example. Like the person they call him Abu Ali because his son is called Ali, or Ali because her son is called Ali. Yeah. Sometimes in the past was more common, and nowadays can happen. Sometimes kunya is given by people. Like for example, they say the second Khalifa had a habit of going around and seeing somebody and calling that person a name. You are Abu this. And obviously him being the Khalifa and scary, people said, okay, they accept. So from there onwards, they call that guy Abu this and that. Okay. Sometimes people call a person a name because of his character or her character. This sort of kunya, nickname, is given. It doesn't mean that you are necessarily attached to that. You know, some people might be nasty and call you a name, and that name stays with you. As people sometimes, unfortunately, at school they have that. Inshallah, in the Muslim community, that's not, and they all remember. So they're not going to that, inshallah. But sometimes that stays. Sometimes they call a person because has a very good character and the good name comes. But sometimes this name is given to a person by an authority. And which authority is more important than the authority of Ma'asum alayhi salam? If we find out this name was given to Fatemiyeh Zahra salamullah alayha by a Ma'asum, then things are different, isn't it? The name of Abiha was given to Fatemiyeh Zahra salamullah alayha by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam himself. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. If we find out that this is the case, then we cannot just take this name or nickname as something that people have said, okay, who cares? No. Anything that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, there was a purpose. Anything that Quran says, there is a purpose in it. Any story in Quran, there is a purpose in it. Unfortunately, some Muslims, if you ask them, so this story in Quran, what's the purpose of that? They say, well, it's a story, it's nice. No. Allah Ta'ala says, in these stories, truly, definitely, there is a lesson. La'ibrah. There is a lesson. All these stories in Quran, there is a lesson in them. So, the name was given to Fatemiyeh Zahra salamullah alayha by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and we want to find out what is the meaning of this name as much as we can, inshallah. I have prepared 4 sections for this answering this question, and inshallah, if I can, I'll answer I just present one of those sections tonight, inshallah. And if we had time in other times that we see you here or some other places, if I could, I present the rest, inshallah. The meaning of the word itself, because everything might have a literal meaning. The one that I said you go to dictionary and you check. One famous meaning for it is the root, asl, the root of something, the origin of something. Because with this meaning, then you know why they call our mothers because we originated from our mothers. So it's not as if the name didn't exist until they found a mother and they said, okay, we call mother No, the word did exist, and they apply that to the mother, because mother is the origin. Also, could mean the purpose of something. Qasd, maqsad. The purpose of something is the of that. So far, when you go to literal meaning, yeah, we're talking about literal meaning so far. From dictionary, yeah? So far from dictionary, we think Abiha. Fatemiyeh Zahra wasn't literally the mother of her father, was she? Of course, cannot happen. This is not the real mother. The mother passed away. So why are we calling her Abiha? Literal meaning, one meaning is that this is the purpose for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And remember, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that in any situation, in any form of existence, is Rasul. A prophet, a messenger, is always a messenger. Was born a messenger, will die a messenger, will resurrect as a messenger. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in all those words that we said, yeah, that introduction, remember? Everywhere, he is Sayyidul Anbiya. He is the best creation of Allah. Khayrul Bashar. Khayrul Bariyah. The best existence. Was in Alam al-Dhar, was here in this world, will be in Alam al-Barzakh, will be in the Qiyamah, in any other world, all these worlds that exist. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the best creation. Abiha was given by Rasulullah. She is Abiha now. And she will be Abiha. What does that mean? Some people have come and explained this word, this nickname, in a very simple manner. And it's fine, we'll take it. We're not going to say, okay, it has no validity. For example, they said that because Rasulullah ﷺ lost his mother in a very young age and did not have a lot of motherly love, for example, and Fatemiyeh Zahra was very kind to him, that's why they called her that name. This sounds like weakness. Rasul ﷺ is not dependent on anybody in this world. Everybody else is dependent on him. It doesn't sound like the person that we know as the best creation of Allah. Some said, okay, it's not the weakness, it's not like that. It's the fact that Rasulullah ﷺ respected her so much. As you know, Rasul ﷺ got up all the time in front of her, kissed her hand. We're talking about the Arab, the world at the time, the Arab at the time, that they buried their children. Not a long time before that, they were burying their daughters. Now, the Prophet ﷺ gets up, kisses her hand, kisses her forehead in front of everybody, starts talking to her. Respects her exactly like her mother. How are you supposed to respect your mother? That sounds a little bit like a valid point. Also, they have said something else. They said, you know that Quran has given this title to the wives of Rasulullah ﷺ as al-Mu'mineen, the mother of Mu'mineen. Rasulullah ﷺ gave this title to Fatemiyeh Zahra salamullah alayha. So if anybody came and said, look, I am al-Mu'mineen, who are you? And she says, I am Rasul sallallahu, Abiha or Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In a way that if being the mother of mu'mineen has any extra value, so how superior is Rasul towards, in comparison to mu'mineen, to other people? The of mu'mineen in comparison to of Rasul would be that much less. Yes? So if being al-mu'mineen is a value, being Rasul is much more than that, if that's what you're trying to say. And that's another point. Okay, we understand it. That's a good point. Let's go back to that literal meaning, purpose. Let's see in hadith, do we have any evidence to explain this purpose? Because we said that Rasulullah is the purpose of creation. The most important part of Allah's creation is Khalifatullah. The Khalifa, an absolute Khalifa, first one in the history was Adam alayhi salam. But the real one, the absolute one, the highest one is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now we are going back to understand this purpose. How is that possible that Fatemiyeh Zahra salamullah alayha is the purpose of the Risala, the messengership or the prophethood of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? One day, for example, if I come, just an example. If I say, Brother Farshad, for example, here, if I say, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. Why is because, for example, he comes and says, if it wasn't for you, which means that he actually brought me here. And why is that he say, I came here because I love you so much, I came for your sake, for example. Yes? There's a different way of explaining this if it wasn't for you. Allah Ta'ala says, refers to Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Lawlak lama khalaqtul aflak. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't create anything. There's no point of creating this. Why? Because obviously this is a very long discussion, but in a short nutshell. Because the purpose of creation is عبادة وما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون. Who is the absolute abd? The best abd? An example, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As we say, أشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't create anything. What's the point? I created everything. I created human for worshipping. If there is no perfect abd, there is no real servant of Allah, what's the point? But then it continues. وَلَوْلَا عَلِي لَمَا خَلَقْتُ. If it wasn't for Ali, Amirul Mu'minin Ali alayhi salam, I wouldn't create you. This is not because Imam Ali alayhi salam was the cause of the existence of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's because without him, the purpose of creation continuing and worshipping Allah would be useless. It doesn't serve the purpose. If Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam comes and goes, we say, okay, Rasul came. After that, the message is gone. And everybody goes and worships Allah the same way they want. Somebody prays like this, somebody prays like that, somebody says Allah has hands, somebody says Allah doesn't have hands, and that's it. Fight starts. You needed somebody to continue that message. But, again the hadith continues. لَوْلَا فَاطِمَةَ لَمَا خَلَقْتُكُمَا. If it wasn't for the sake of Fatimah salamullah alayha being there, what's the point of creating you too? Because then after that the message would have gone astray. The whole thing would have been again useless. Who is going to continue that message? Where are the A'imma after Imam Ali alayhi salam? The A'imma came because of Fatemiyeh. Also, this is for that part of the purpose. Okay? Also, we say that is the root. So far, we're just talking about literature, yes? We haven't gone to special text. We said that Fatima Salamullahi was the and one of the meaning of is root. Hadith Imam Baqir alayhi salam says that the shajara, the tree, the pure tree of Risala, of messengership of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, has a root, and that's Fatima sallallahu. This tree has a trunk, that is Amirul Mu'minin Ali alayhi salam. Has fruit, and that's Aimma alayhi salam. Makes sense? So far we have evidence for all the literal meanings. Now, the most important part, as we said, is to find the specific meaning. Big mistake if we read something in Quran and say, that's it, this is it. In Quran, Allah Ta'ala says, وَالَّذِي أَنزَلَ عَلَيْكَ الْكِتَابِ مِنْهُ آيَاتٌ مُحْكَمَاتٌ هُنَّ أُمُّ الْكِتَابِ وَأُخَرَ مُتَشَابِهَةٌ. In Surah Ali Imran, Allah Ta'ala says, you know these verses came? Some of them, they are what we call it muhkam, fundamental, or the ones with clear meaning, if you want to translate it. The rest are the ones, the rest of verses are the ones that they have a meaning that you could translate or you could understand different things from it, and not necessarily all of that meanings that you get are right. But this muhkam one, they're definitely giving you the right meaning. Like the verses are related to that Tawheed. Remember we said is the nur, is the light. The nur is a relative thing. For example, we say here is dark, but it doesn't mean it's absolute darkness. There's still some light. Let's say that part of the room is dark. Here is light. If you compare these two together, still there's quite a bit of light there. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam actually in dua says, Subhanalladhi, something in this meaning that knows the wazn of dhulumat wa nur. I think it's Subhanalladhi ya'lamu wazn al-dhulumat wa nur. If I'm not wrong. Allah Ta'ala knows the weight or the amount of dhulumat and nur, darkness and light. Well, you can say, well, wait a minute, darkness is lack of light, isn't it? No, but the truth is that absolute darkness is not a lot. You don't find it easily. It's almost impossible. In physics, you can read that. So when you say there is somewhere that is dark, still there's some light. So how do you say it? You say these things, they have levels. So when we say this one has nur, the one just under that becomes dark. The ones above that has more nur and makes this one dark and goes up like that. When we say an ayah is muhkam, is full of light, that has levels as well. When you go up, you get to the level that is the most fundamental, or in Arabic they call ahkam wal muhkamat, the most fundamental. Or in the light version you say nur or anwar. The light are all other types of lights. The most strong one. And you call that and you say hunna ummul kitab. The ones are so solid, so clear, so full of light, that you can trust them. You want to learn religion, go after You want to be sure about the path you're taking, find the al-Kitab, those verses. And ayah continues, in fact. It says that, you know what, ukhar mutashabih, the rest are mutashabih, the ones who can get different meanings. Then the ayah says, فَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ زَيْغٌ, the ones that they have some impurity in their heart, فَيَتَّبِعُونَ مَا تَشَابَهَ مِنْهُ ابْتِغَاءَ فِتْنَةٍ وَابْتِغَاءَ تَأْوِيلِهِ. They have problems. They go after the ones that are not with They follow those people, and they go because they have problem in their hearts. They don't want to hear the greatness of Fatemiyeh Zahra. There are people in this world, they're called Muslim, they don't want to hear the status of Fatemiyeh Zahra, because they don't want to see Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam through the They don't want to see the verse through al-Kitab, as Quran says. The same way they don't want to see Rasul through the right source. But the A'imma alayhim salam wal-Rasikhuna fil ilm, in the same ayah, those are people, actually they go after that. They say, we believe in all of it. We know this is the right path. We take it from Yes? This is the special meaning. One of the possible special meanings is this one. That as al-Kitab is al-Kitab. Is not Kitab, yeah? Quran has certain verses that we call them al-Kitab. Fatemiyeh salamullah is not Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is Abiha. Is the part, is the part of that if you want to take the best path, the most secure one, and understand Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then you've got to go after Abiha. That's how we learn. And this existence, and this part of Wilayah, this is part of Wilayah. This part of Wilayah is part of Usul al-Din. Unfortunately, some of the scholars, they fought over this, and they want to say, oh, maybe it's Furu al-Din. No. Of course it's Usul al-Din. Of course you have to believe in that. We got evidence, of course we have evidence for that. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam is giving the last words to Hamza, Sayyid al-Shuhada. You know Hamza Sayyid al-Shuhada, before becoming Shaheed, he wanted to make sure that his religion, because he became Muslim, and then he wanted to get information about, I'm going to become Shaheed, so I need to know everything. Nowadays when somebody's dying, we do what? Talqeen, you know? We shake them and we start saying certain things. Remember that who is your God. Remember who is your Prophet. Remember who is your Imam. And then Rasul ﷺ said this, you've got to bear witness that Fatima is Sayyidatun Nisa'il Alameen. That's part of your belief. If you don't believe in that, your belief is not complete. We have evidence both there, and of course we have evidence in Quran. So in Quran, and that would be another, inshallah, lecture or discussion, that we talk about the fact that this is part of Usul al-Din based on Quran. Evidence from Quran that we prove. Remember those things, there's the introduction, inshallah, that we prove, inshallah, that this is part of our Usul al-Din. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Sallallahu alayhi ya Fatima. السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. السلام عليك يا سيدة نساء